YouTube comments up here
Mhm.
on the screen. The Amazon comments I'm going to have to read to you because they only show up in the app.
Cool.
As soon as we connect, there we go. And 3, 2, 1. Still connecting. Okay, and we're live.
Yay!
Hi. Hello. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. My name is Naomi Nakashima. I am a B2B ghostwriter. I help business owners write and publish their books. And with me tonight, I'm so excited for Mariah Ankenman. Hi, Mariah.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be here. I have been, one of the questions that I get asked all the time are things like, how can I write a book if I have dyslexia? How can I write a book if I am chronically ill? How can I write a book if I have this ailment, that ailment, and the other? And so when you told me, oh yeah, I can talk on all those, I was like,
I'm an expert. Well, an expert of my own, my own knowing of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your experience, and you were about
experience.
to help
That's the word. See, I'm a writer, but words. What are words? I don't know. I don't use those every day.
Words are so hard.
They are.
I love. There's a meme that says, "Do you know how much braining it takes to make words go?" And it's like,
I need that on a T-shirt.
It's so true. All right. So before we dig into all the good stuff, Mariah's new book, The Dating Dilemma, is out this week. Happy book birthday.
Yes, this one. Wait. Oh my goodness, the invert. I can't. There. Yay, there it is. Obviously, the book's not this big. It's just my book backpack. I just don't have a print copy with me.
But it's so, I'm sure, and I've started digging into the wedding dilemma, which is one. And I have not made it all the way through. I'm to chapter 3. So don't kill me.
No, of course not. There's too many good books out there to be caught up on all of them.
But I am excited. So we are going to dig into the dating dilemma a bit. And obviously we're going to talk about the wedding dilemma a little bit. But first, I'd like to start with your story. How did you get to here? How did you get to becoming an author?
Oh boy. Well, I was raised by a clown. So I think the creative arts have always been in my blood. Like literally my mom was a professional clown. She did like birthday parties, work functions, our 4th of July party every year. We went to the circus one year and she knew the circus people. So we got to go in clown and perform with the circus, which was so fun. So fun. And we would always write like our own clown skits and stuff. And then I think it was like 1st or 2nd grade, we had to write a story for class. And I wrote, I think it was called George and the Green Glob, about like a little boy who had a monster living under his bed and they became best friends and went on adventures. And our school librarian laminated it and put a barcode on it so that other kids could check it out. Like one of those, the numbers for the Dewey Decimal System, because I'm old. We had that thing. And it was so cool. I was like, oh, my book's in the library. And then I remember my 4th grade teacher, when we were doing something with our English, section of school, I was talking about writing that book and how much fun writing was. I wish I could do it for a job. But she's like, Mariah, you can write. You could be an author. I'm like, you can? She's like, yes. And here is your first piece of advice. When the characters are talking, it goes in quotation marks. So I was like, oh, so thank you, Miss Cohue. That's, that's kind of where it started out. And then, I was a theater kid and did playwriting and then found the romance genre and fell in love, and that's how it happened.
Oh, wow. And that is such an uplifting story. So often I hear from authors when I ask them this question, they're like, oh, well, I wanted to be an author forever, but everyone kept telling me no. And everyone kept telling me you can't make any money. And so they like went through all this heartbreak and then decided, well, I'm going to do it anyway because you got encouraged right away. That's amazing.
Yes. Yeah, I was very lucky that all my my teachers were very encouraging about it, and my family, you know, we're a theater family, so anything in the creative arts, it's like, yes, go do it, do your joy. You know, my mom was all about bringing smiles to people, so, you know, she's not super happy that I'm a steamy romance author. You know, I don't think those were quite the smiles she was thinking, but she's still very proud.
Oh my God, I thought you were going to go into fantasy, science fiction. Sure. Perfect.
Yeah, just a little detour.
All right. Kaylee is watching over on Amazon. Hi, Kaylee. And Charles Edwin, who I interviewed last week. He's watching over on YouTube. So hi, Charles. I've seen Mariah's TikToks before. The content is awesome.
Thank
It is. It's
Thank
so good.
you. It's a minor TikTok addiction.
It's
little.
It's not a problem, really. It's, you know, a few thousand videos.
It's so fun. So fun.
You know, it's kind of crazy how addicting it got real quick. Like,
yeah.
Okay, so yay, you're an author. Now, how did you get to the dating dilemma? And what brings us up to this point?
Yes. Well, so I started writing. I actually started out writing fantasy before I knew romance was a thing. But then when I found romance, I was like, oh, this is amazing. An entire genre that is basically all about hope and love. I'm in. So then I started writing romance and entered some competitions. I was nominated for some awards and got more involved in the romance world and romance organizations. And I actually sold my first book before I had an agent. I sold to a small press first. And so my first 8 books were published without an agent, just with a small press. And as I was doing that, I kept querying other stories because you never stop writing, you know, just always keep writing. So I was querying my new stories to get an agent. And then I signed with an agent, and the book that I signed her with, it was funny because I entered it in a pitch competition, and Entangled had liked the pitch, and one of the editors said, send it to me. So I sent it to them. And then while they had it, my agent called and was like, oh, I love this book. I want to represent you. We had the phone call. It was great. So I signed with her, and literally, I think it was like 2 or 3 days after I signed with her, Entangled got back to me. They're like, we really like your writing style. We don't think we can sell this book, but we like the premise of like the second book in the series. So could we have that one, or could you rewrite us a book like this? And then I called my agent. I was like, Ava, they like my writing, but they want a different type of book. He's like, okay, how do you feel? I'm like, I can do it. So then I sold the Mile High Happiness series, which is before the Dating Dilemma series. I sold that to Entangled, like on spec. And so we did those 3 books. And then after that, we're like, let's do a spinoff of the firefighters, because, you know, everyone loves firefighters. Obviously. And so, you know, sold those books to them too. And that's, you know, that's kind of how it happened. So, and I love it. I love my job. It's so fun.
And the rest, as they say, is history. Yeah, okay. We all have a TikTok addiction. We do. We really do.
True.
And TikTok has given so much to me, though, because like I got addicted, but look at the community that is there. The book talk community, the writer talk community. It's like some of the most fiercely supportive people I've ever come across. It's amazing.
Yeah. The readers on there are, oh my gosh, so amazing.
Yes. So I'm okay with that addiction. There are worse things to be addicted to. And I tell you, every time I need a little bit of a boost because I'm feeling bad, it doesn't matter what kind of boost. Like if I need a mindset boost or an ego boost or just I don't want to get up today, I need some energy boost, I scroll TikTok and I'm ready to go. Oh, it's great.
Yes. And there's so much on there. It's wonderful.
So, let's curve a little bit to writing with dyslexia. Yeah. Because I'm really excited to dig into this topic. I'm really
Yeah, I
excited
have
to dive
kids.
into this topic, and I think it's going to help a lot of people. So, tell me a little bit about the first struggles you had, how you found out you had dyslexia, and what that meant with your reading and your writing. Like, because I do not have it, and I struggle under. I mean, I understand from a empathetic kind of, it must be hard to read, but I don't really know what's happening when it's happening. So could you
Yeah.
explain that to me?
Absolutely. So dyslexia, like, every disability is a spectrum. There's some people who can't read at all. Like I have a dyslexic friend who has to have all his books on tape because he literally cannot read the words. They're so jumbled. My mom is dyslexic and actually didn't know how to read until she was 21 and needed to teach my oldest sister to read. And then she learned to read with my oldest sister using the Hooked on Phonics tapes. So because my mother couldn't read until she was 21, she made sure all of us could. I was doing Hooked on Phonics before kindergarten. So I went to kindergarten knowing how to read. I didn't actually know I had dyslexia until college. I was always terrible at spelling, but I don't like some people with dyslexia will flip the letters, like a B will look like a D. I don't do that. I will switch letters. So like my E's and my L's, my I's and my E's, my R's and S's, like there's just certain letters that will be switched. I will never be able to spell difficult or differently. Nope. Never. I don't care if it's right there on the wall. I'll never be able to spell it. I just can't. And I also have I can't read out loud because when I read out loud, something in my brain just doesn't process it right, and I stumble over words, and so I am terrible at reading out loud. When I was in theater, I would memorize my scripts before everyone else so that I could get off book like as soon as possible because I couldn't read my lines out loud. So I would sit there in my bed at night and read and read and read to myself. I was always off book. My directors were always so impressed. They're like, Mariah, you're so dedicated. I'm like, ha, it's because I can't read out loud because I stumble over my words. It wasn't until college where we had to do blue book tests where you didn't have the computer with the spell check thing. I was doing a blue book test in college, and after my exam, my professor emailed me and he's like, Mariah, you're wonderful. I'm giving you an A. You always have great discussions in class. You bring up excellent points. You have valid information to back things up. But your spelling and grammar is atrocious. How did you get to college with this spelling and grammar? You have dyslexia. You need to go get this checked out. And I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
Thanks. And it's true because like I don't test well. My ACT and SAT scores are very, very bad. Like, so I don't, if, the spell check, I need spell check. I need it. I need spell check. I need an editor. I have a specific dyslexia critique partner who has been with me since college, who knows all my commonly misspelled words and mismatched words. Because that's another thing I do. I will take words and flip them. And I do that sometimes when I'm talking too. Like I'll say, for some reason, I can't say bookstore shelves. I always say bookshelf stores. And I've even had that in some of my videos. You'll notice I say bookshelf stores because I can't say bookstore shelves.
Without really slowing down and concentrating anyway. Yeah.
My brain just mixes them up. And when I read, I have like word blindness with my dyslexia. So sometimes I'll miss a word and I'll have to go back, which is why I love rereading. Because sometimes it's like reading a whole new book because I'm like, oh, she said could not do that. I was wondering why she said she could do that and then didn't do that. My brain didn't see the not. It was like completely, which I also do in my writing, which my CP will point out, will be like, you forgot this word here. Is this word supposed to be here? I'm like, yeah, that word is supposed to be there. Yes.
Yay, editors.
I love my editors. I love all my editors, my CP, my agent. Thank you so much. It's really funny because my agent, another one of my agency siblings also has dyslexia, and my agent comments on how we have common words that we misspell. She's like, yeah, you guys spell that word the same and it's wrong. We're like, oh,
and it's wrong.
Okay.
Oh no.
Noted. I'll put
All
it on the
right.
board, still won't spell it right.
Okay, so as let's see, Kaylee says, I'm dyslexic with cognitive difficulties. Information retention from reading words is really difficult. I can't spell the without autocorrect. It's always te, like th.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And you
Yep.
know, I now feel like a horrible person. I'm not a horrible person, but I
No.
do remember like 20 some years ago, I was talking to someone about their resume. You're about to change your mind on that. About 20 some years ago, I was helping someone with their resume. And I said, well, think about it. If you see someone hand you a letter and they've misspelled the word the, what is your impression of them? Right. And that was my exact example. And now I feel awful. And I feel like I should go apologize to that person because maybe they had dyslexia and I didn't realize.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is how much dyslexia can affect you. I mean, I have my spouse sometimes check my emails and my texts before I send them out just so that I make sure, like, I will look over anything I send multiple times to make sure it is spelled right. And it really hurts when people like make fun of me for spelling something wrong or pronouncing something wrong, because I pronounce things wrong all the time too. Like in a video, I said manga once, and so some person came on and was like, I don't know what manga is. Do you mean manga? I'm like, oh yeah, manga. Thanks so much. You're so smart. Yay for you. You want a cookie? Thanks
Here's
for making
your
fun of me.
medal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Some people are just, it's like they stay on the wrong side of the bed. Like they woke up there and then they just stay there. Anyway. Okay. So you get to college, you find out you have dyslexia because you're brilliant, obviously. But you're having a lot of trouble putting everything into words. How did that affect you when you decided I'm going to be an author? Did that discourage you in any way? Were you like ready to just take over anyway?
I think I was just ready to take over. It didn't discourage me. It did explain a lot. Like why I was always so bad. Like my spelling tests were always horrible, and it definitely explained a lot. But he was very kind in that you have good things to say. You just have this barrier in front of you. And did you know you had this barrier? And I was like, I did not. Thank you. And I think that's also why, because I was in college for playwriting, and my books are very heavy dialogue. Like my voice is very like snappy, short, fast paced, lots of dialogue. And I think that is because of my dyslexia. Because when you get into those like big, beautiful, flowery, descriptive paragraphs, that's when I get into trouble because it's too many words. Yeah. It's too many words and they can all get jumbled up. So my books are pretty heavy on the dialogue. I'm working on getting, more descriptive, because that has been a thing that people have pointed out. Like, you could be more descriptive, Mariah. And I'm like, I will work on that. But I would definitely say that is a lot trickier to do, because the more descriptive you get with dyslexia, the more chance there is to make mistakes, as opposed to dialogue, which is pretty easy because it's just, people talking.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, wow. Dale says manga, potato.
Thank you, Dale. I agree.
Absolutely.
I even went to anime conventions and they said manga too. So I don't know. I used to go to Nandesukan every year.
I heard manga. Like, I wouldn't have known that was wrong. I mean, yeah, that's at least at first. And my husband's Japanese. Like, and he says manga. So I don't know.
I know. I'm like, that's all I've ever heard it pronounced as before.
So I don't know. I worked at a comic shop. So before manga was big, or probably before manga was big. Sorry to whoever.
Manga.
I did notice, and it's funny that you mentioned about the paragraph lengths, because I did notice, and I happen to like shorter paragraphs. I use them a lot. I use sentence fragments a lot because I like, as a reader, I like to feel like my eyes are just like, even if, I like feeling like I'm flipping through pages and I'm not like stuck. It did not click with me that might be a side effect of writing with dyslexia, is that you're making it easy on yourself by keeping the paragraphs a little bit shorter and using a lot of dialogue. So, wow, that's just, don't call it mango. Deal.
Mango. I won't, but I will eat a mango because they're delicious.
They're so good.
They're tasty.
Yes. In agreement there. All right. So just to do a quick refresh, Mariah Ankenman. Did I say that right? I did.
You did.
Yay. She's live with me. We're talking about writing with dyslexia. Writing. I almost said writing is, of course, an author. Speaking of switching words, Mariah is, of course, an author, and she's the author of The Dating Dilemma, which is out this week on Amazon. You'll find it featured below in the carousel. It is the follow-up to The Wedding Dilemma, which I am in the middle of reading now. And this is, you said it was an offshoot of the Mile High series?
The Mile High Happiness series, yeah. And they're all standalones. All my books can be read standalone, so you can start anywhere you want. Each book is a new couple, and everyone gets a happy ending. Guaranteed.
Which is why we love romance.
Yes. Because it needs a happy ending, and I will fight that with my last breath. It needs a happy ending. Happy.
Yeah.
Happy.
You know what? Step up on the soapbox.
On the soapbox.
Go ahead. Because I am in full agreement with you.
That's the only rule. That's the only rule. You can do anything else you want. As long as in the end, the characters are happy. They don't have to be married. There doesn't have to be kids. They just have to be together and happy to be a romance. Nicholas Sparks does not write romance. He even says it.
That's true. He does say it.
He does say it. And yet everyone's still like, oh, he's a romance author. No, he's not. He knows. He knows the rules. And he's like, I don't follow that rule. I don't write romance.
Here we go. All right. Dale is cheering yes in the comments. Thank you, Dale. We love you. You're our favorite. Of course, we have a few more people. That's not to exclude anyone else, okay? We have a few more people watching who
we love you all.
We do love you all.
Love for all in the romance community. That's why it's the best.
That's why I don't read him, Nicholas Sparks. All right. So, what do you think? Once you got the diagnosis and once you figured out what this barrier was and what it meant for you, what were some of the steps you were able to take to overcome it and really start like writing your books and getting them out?
Well, I don't know that you can really overcome it. I think you just find coping mechanisms to work with it.
That's a much better way of putting it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have like little spelling and grammar charts that I keep like on hand with me. I got this new software, Pro Writing Aid. I got this new software. I love it. I just started using it. It was so funny too, because when I put a short story in it and the spelling and grammar was like 58%. Like everything else was good, like in the 70s, the 80s, spelling grammar 58%. I was like, oh, yep. But then when I went through the software and used it, it went up to like a 90. So I was like, sweet. But yes. So things like that, I love Pro Writing Aid. Highly recommend that. I got it when it was like on a sale. I think it goes on sale like every now and then. So keep an eye out for it going on sale. And then just like, sounds silly, but those charts that you can get at the store for like grade schoolers on spelling and grammar, I have those and just keep them up around because they help.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. That sounds like a brilliant idea. And you keep them around you So you have them set up as, you have pro writing aid set up as kind of like your backup, and then you've got these other little tools. I mean, and what better tool to help you remember the basics and those types of rules,
like basic thing,
than something that is meant to teach kids. Yeah. I've got a couple of those things down in the carousel below. So I don't know if I picked out the best ones or not, but I did get a couple of them in there. Mostly I have the wedding dilemma, the dating dilemma. And I asked Mariah, I said, what would the readers really benefit from? What would like increase their experience, improve their experience, their reading experience with reading this book, as she said. And you mentioned, and it's not pulling up for me now, but the coasters with the drinking puns.
Oh, I love those. I love those things. I have one right here. Look, it's Drinkula.
So those are her favorite.
They're my favorite. I found them. There's on Amazon. I think he has an Etsy shop too. It's Oliver Stuff. Oliver Stuff is his name. They're like the classic books. I have another one on my bookshelf chair, which is the Scarlet Liquor. Ah!
Oh my God, they're funny. So of
Tequila
course,
Mockingbird.
So of course I had to order a set of those, and they're not here yet either. But yeah, so they're book-shaped wooden coasters, and the books are drinking puns.
Yeah,
the titles are.
They're so good, and he has so many of them. And I love, like, two of my favorite things: booze and puns. I love them so much. They're so great. I just put my coffee on this every morning when I write, and my martinis every night when I write spicy scenes. You can't write a spicy scene with coffee. You need a martini.
I maybe my spicy scenes would be better if I took that advice. That might be what I'm missing right there.
You're missing a martini.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness. All right. So we're going to start taking questions from the viewers. So if you have any questions and you're watching, whether you're on YouTube or Amazon, please say hi. Let us know that you're here. And if you have any questions, I'm talking with Mariah Ankenman. Oh my goodness. I had it right earlier. Ankenman, on her. Emma kicked me out. Oh, I was like, Emma kicked me out. Okay. On her book, The Dating Dilemma, that is out this week. And writing with dyslexia and what that has been like, and what is that meant for her career, which it definitely has not slowed you down. Would you say it's actually helped you once you got the diagnosis? You were able to just like take off?
I think so. I think it definitely has, because it's helped me lean into my ethereal voice more. Like I said, I write very like character heavy, dialogue heavy books where it's all about the characters. And I think anyone who reads my books and loves my books, I mean, they always comment on, I love this character. And that's because I really do infuse just a lot of my story, like through the characters' eyes, with their dialogue and stuff like that, because it's just easier to write dialogue with dyslexia. I am working on being more descriptive, but it's definitely, dialogue is definitely my strong suit. I think because of my dyslexia, because it is just, it's much easier to write the dialogue than it is to write those big chunky, like I would be terrible at fantasy, like high fantasy. That's not for me. I don't think I could ever do that. That's too much. That's too much. Kudos to all the high fantasy authors. That is really hard. I don't think I could do that. It's too much description.
I don't, and I think it's really important to know what your strengths are. Even with or without dyslexia. I think that's something that new authors sometimes struggle with, because they think that they have to be able to write long, flowery prose and quick, witty banter. And they feel like in order to be an author, they have to do it all. But understanding what your strengths are, and dyslexia seems to like help you like define it. Like, this is what you're going to be good at. Okay. and this is how to use it to your best advantage, which I think is really amazing. Like,
Thank you.
like it's so good. Okay, so if a new author were to come to you right now, actually, let's do this in 2 questions.
All right.
Sorry. So if a new author were to come to you right now and they say, hey, I heard you had dyslexia and I want to be an author, but I'm just like, all this stuff is going wrong. How can I do this? What would be your spiel? I don't want to say what would be your one tip, because no one ever has one tip, but what would be your spiel to them?
I would tell them to find a few different methods of writing, because there's all different kinds. You can type, you can longhand, like use a remarkable and convert it to text. You could dictate. So try out a few different ways of writing and see which one works best for you, and then go with that one. And if that ever changes, don't be afraid to change, because I've changed my method of writing, of how I write, when I write, how much I write before, because when it stops working, it stops working. And then you just need to, shake things up to get the creative juices flowing again. But there's no one right way to write. You can write books out of order. You can write on different devices. I know an author, Pin Tip Dunn, writes all her books on her phone. Every single book is written on her phone.
Holy cow.
So yeah, there's so many different ways to write. I have friends who dictate their books. All their books are dictated. So just experiment with different methods of writing. You don't have to sit at a typewriter. You don't have to sit at a computer. You can find a different way to do it. Just try everything and, see which one sticks.
I love that. And I 100% agree. Okay. Could you? I don't know, because you threw a bag at it. Go. No. Go. Why? Sorry. It's me. I'm the new author. Kaylee says, it's me. I'm the new author. And she's dyslexic. So, hey, this is like, we are here for her. But I 100% agree. There's no one single right way that you can sit down and write. And there's so and if there was, we wouldn't have 8 billion books out there on how to write. Like, this is the new way to write. The new, it's coming out all the time. I am a person that I like to do dictation, mostly because sitting at the computer, after a while, my brain, I have ADHD, and my brain just, it won't do what I need it to do. It won't focus anymore. My kids will be running around. Everything gets loud. Like, a messenger or a text message will come in and it will feel loud, and I can't do that. So I get up and I go over to my treadmill, or I go and I pace in the kitchen somewhere by myself, and I dictate into my phone most of the time. There's no one way to write. You got to find what works for you.
Absolutely.
So, perfect. And no one has asked any other questions yet. So
I see some over here.
Oh, yep, you're right. I'm dyslexic.
Maybe they're more
hired a ghostwriter to write the parts that are too emotional for me. I'm on this journey right now. Oh, Anna, yes. So I use speech to text for absolutely everything. And to be honest with you, the only reason I'm able to write this is because it's an autobiography. Anna, that is amazing. Congratulations on writing on starting your autobiography. Ghostwriting is actually one way that you can write a book, even in these circumstances. And in fact, a lot of my clients, and to be clear, Mariah is not one of my clients. She writes her own books.
I do.
And not that there's anything wrong with hiring a ghostwriter. It's not, because it's still your own book. Anna, it's still your book. But that is another solution as well, is if you are really struggling to write and you know what you want to write, you can get with a ghostwriter. They will interview you. They will learn your voice. I know that with me, my clients will sit on Zoom and I'll transcribe it and I'll be like, tell me your story. And I'll have it recording and transcribed. So then I just take that and I turn it into a book. So there's nothing wrong with, using a ghostwriter in place of the charts and the worksheets and the writing aid. It's just, we are just another tool to help you tell your story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm glad you spotted that. I had switched screens to put your name up in these fancy little, like, lower third. And I forgot to go back to check the chat. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. Okay. Are there other tools out there, that you have either heard of and tried and they didn't work for you or didn't try, or, that maybe you're thinking of trying, that writers with dyslexia can go, I forget what I'm saying.
Can use to help?
Yes, thank you. I'm having a moment today.
I tried Grammarly. I didn't really like it that much, though. It might be great for some other people. So, but yeah, Grammarly, I tried that one, but I didn't feel like that really helped too much.
Yeah, Grammarly it does okay for what it does. Between the two, I vastly prefer Pro Writing Aid, but I think part of that is Grammarly is really just geared toward business writing and essays.
Yes. Yeah.
And Pro Writing Aid is meant to, like, help you build a story. So it's fiction and nonfiction, memoir. It works within anything that's more book and storytelling. I think that's where the big difference comes in.
Yeah, because with Pro Writing Aid, you can actually specify that you're writing a book and what kind. I have my Pro Writing Aid set to romance so that it knows I'm writing a romance book.
Yeah.
So I prefer it. I tried Grammarly, didn't really like it that much. I tried Scrivener and my brain almost exploded because that is a steep learning curve. Holy cow. Like, I even went to a workshop on it of someone who's like, it's not that hard. You do this, this, and this, and there's this tabs and this. And I was like, that's too much. I'm going to go back to Word. I'm just going to use Word.
Scrivener, the first time I downloaded Scrivener, because everyone talks so highly about it, and I do like it. I don't use it. But the first time, this was years ago. First time I downloaded it, and I was like, I did the exact same thing. I went, whoa, what is, like, there's like every bell and whistle you can think of distracting on the screen. And with ADHD, you can't, like, I use Google Docs now because it's nice and simple and clean. Like, yeah, I don't have all those things. But yeah, that was really a shock at how different it was from a normal word processor.
I think Scrivener might be great for people who write out of order because you could do like those note cards and move the chapters around and stuff. But I'm a linear writer. I write in order. I outline before I write, which also helps. I guess I should also mention that as part of my dyslexia, I don't just sit down and type at the computer. I handwrite my outline first, and I handwrite like every scene, not like word for word every scene, but I write down like what's happening in the scene, what the characters are doing, sometimes even what they're saying. If I think of great dialogue, I'm like, oh yeah. And then he says this, and she looks at him, and he says that. And so I will write down everything in my outline first before I sit at the computer and type. And I think that helps because just like how I would memorize my lines for the school plays, if I have it down first, there's that first barrier already taken care of. So all my mistakes are already there. Like, reading my handwritten outlines is a whole other process because they are woo, like if someone ever picked it up, they'd be like, I can't read any of this. And I'm like, I know, it's a secret dyslexia code only I can decipher.
That is brilliant.
So that helps me get out a lot of my initial like mistakes and spelling stuff. And then when I go to the computer, I know what I'm trying to say already. So I type it in, and then spell check catches a lot of stuff, but not all. And then that's why I have my dyslexia critique partner, who after my book is finished, I give it to them. And we used to have this running joke of how many times I wrote form instead of from. And then they felt bad. They're like, I feel bad because I feel like I'm making fun of you for this and I'm going to stop it. I'm like, okay. I'm like, we were in on the joke, but if you feel bad, I'm okay with stopping it.
Oh my goodness. I mean, at least, you know, they went to you after and said, well, I feel bad. So I'm going to, you know, gave you a chance to be like, we were okay with it.
Like, it's fine, but.
So I love that. Now when I started writing, I was a pantser and I felt like that's how you had to write a book. You sat down when you had the inspiration and then you had to write the book. Now I am a planner. I don't like the word plotter because everyone plots. It's just, do they plot ahead of time or do they plot as they go? But I am a planner, and I agree with you in that sense that when I know where I'm going, if I have it planned out ahead of time, I can either sit and go or treadmill and dictate and go. However, I am not linear. Kudos to you, because back when I was linear, I would get myself stuck. I would be sitting there staring at the screen going, I know what I'm trying to do and where I'm trying to go, but my brain doesn't want to go there. So like, and that's actually why I moved from Word to now Google Docs. It was Scrivener, and then I was like, no. And then now I use Google Docs because I can bounce around. And Word actually, people ask me like, why don't you like Word? Because it doesn't let me move around. But for you, it must be perfect because it kind of forces you to write linearly. You can't do it out of order unless you're scrolling forever.
Yeah. I do like Word.
What did you do, buddy? I don't know where I'm sorry. I don't know where the clicker is.
Oh, did we lose the remote?
Yeah. And I don't know where it is. And where is it? What'd you do? I don't have it. I looked already. I don't have it. See my books? No, this is a different clicker. That's not to the TV. Okay. Are you trying to say hi? Okay.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
How are you? You say, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I just came home.
All right, kiddo. Okay. Go on.
I just said I love you too.
Okay, say it fast.
I love you.
I love
I
you.
You see the heart hands? No, you don't have to
See
sing
that?
happy birthday
Why?
because it's not her birthday.
It's not for another couple months.
Okay. All right. No, honey, please go.
Say goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
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 That's Christopher.
Aw.
Christopher.
Yeah, she knows. I told her. Okay.
Bye, Christopher.
Come on, baby. So yeah, now writing as a mom is a whole other.
Yeah. That's what changed me from a pantser to a plotter is because I started out as a pantser too. I would be like, when the muse hits, and I did that whole write every day advice.
Oh,
but
yes.
it was terrible, which like if that works for people, go for it. Write every day. That's amazing. I think it's terrible advice to tell people they need to write every day because one, it's very ableist, and two, it doesn't work for everyone. Because I would sit at my computer, write a sentence, and then be like, I wrote today. I'm amazing. It took me a year to finish a book. It took so long. And then when I started like dedicating time, when I started dedicating time to it after I had my kids, and I was like, okay, I have kids now. They have to be on a schedule. I have to be on a schedule. So I, started by writing during their naps, and then I would write after they went to bed. I would have to plan out my writing. And so that's when I started plotting, because I was like, all right, I need to have a schedule. I need to know where I'm going. I can't wait for the muse, and it can't take a year to write a book. So the first time I plotted a book, it took me 6 weeks to write it. And I was like, this is the best thing ever. I'm doing this forever.
Right.
Oh my gosh. So now I don't write every day. I write 5 days a week. I take the weekends off. I usually write in the mornings because now, yay, both my kids are in school. But it's so wonderful. I used to have to write after they go to bed. So I'd be writing from like 9 o'clock to midnight, and it would be, I tried getting up before them, but the second you get up, they hear you and they're like, we're up too.
That's what I was going to say. The next worst piece of advice that sounds good is, just wake up early.
No.
Because you can't, there is no wake up early. The kids hear you. I would be waking up at 5:30 in the morning. They would get up at 5:33, and then it's like, well, now I'm sleep deprived, cranky, and still can't get it done.
Absolutely. Yep.
And then it was stay up late, which works for some people, did not work for me because I would have to get up early. So I couldn't just stay up late. And then it was when they're napping, and I was like, if I'm always skipping all the sleep time, when am I sleeping?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's hard. It's so hard to write with kids, especially those first few years. Like, it is tricky. And I got to tell you, last year when they were both online learning, one was in preschool, one was in second grade, they watched a lot of like Bluey and Blippi and stuff. I'd be like, yep, I don't care. Screen time. Mommy needs to work. I don't care. You watch, Minecraft YouTube videos. As long as it's safe, we have our safety settings on, but I was like, you watch TV, watch cartoons, get out of my hair and let me work.
Yep. And I don't feel guilty for it.
Yeah, me either. It's gotta happen.
First, but then like I get to do what I need to do. I'm not stressing about deadlines. I'm not like stressed out about how can I be a writer if I'm not writing. I'm not like none of that. And they're safe. And that's the most important thing, is they're safe and I'm happy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So now this one starts school in the fall. I know, because you got to find the clicker. Go check the flamingo. On the sofa. He starts school in the fall, and I'll tell you, I am counting the days. I'm like, ooh, both kids in school, score.
So nice. It's so nice.
I will be so happy. I mean, I'm gonna cry and miss him for like the first few weeks, and then I'll be like, okay. It's not over there. Okay, honey, I honestly don't know where it is. Kathy Young. Hi, Kathy. She says hi, and she says, "Don't get me started with the just wake up early."
Yeah, it doesn't work. They have a sixth sense for when you're awake.
They do. And with my Piper, she's 7 now. She's going to be 8 next month. And she was a rainbow baby. So, and a complicated birth. So my anxiety was like up here, and it kind of transferred to her. So like I went for weeks. I couldn't, like, I used to sit in a chair propped up so I could hold her, because I went for weeks without being able to actually put her down. And then when it got to the point where I could put her down, because my anxiety, as parents, our moods and anxieties wear off and spread through the house. And so when I put her down, she would get anxiety, which made my anxiety worse. So I had to pick her back up. So it was not, that's where planning and sprinting, like,
I love sprinting.
Yes. And then I like sprinting too, because there's you know, writing with dyslexia, obviously you have to take care of what you're doing when you're writing the words and making sure that you understand your own code, as you put it. But beyond that, it really also helped me cut out my inner editor and like stop being so judgy. We all love our editors, right? One of the things that I tell people, and I just said it a couple of days ago on Clubhouse, I said, if you hired me to be your editor, what would you do if I then said, yeah, okay. And as soon as I signed the papers, I showed up at your house and then I sat on your shoulder while you wrote. And I said, that's not the word you want there. That's no. Like I would not be able to keep that job for very long.
Yeah. Yeah. The first draft is always bad. It's just let it be bad. It just has to be. It doesn't have to be perfect. The first draft just has to be. So get it out. Let it be.
Yes. You are not lying, sister. I can never read my own handwriting, and it changes from moment and day to day. Does your handwriting change too?
It changes based on what I'm doing. So if I'm like signing books, I have really pretty like flowy handwriting that I use for like signing books or writing notes to readers or things like that. And I take a long time doing that. And I will write it out first so I know I spelled it right before I write the final draft. And but when I'm writing just for my own like outlining, oh, it's a mess. It's a mess. It's chicken scratch. It's like doctor handwriting. Who can read that stuff?
Dr. Ankenman of the romance doctor.
Dr. Love.
I can already hear the podcast.
Got to get on this.
Yes, obviously. Okay. This is mine does. Oh, okay. So Kathy says that her handwriting also changes depending on what she's writing. So my handwriting, like I had to learn a new signature because my handwriting is the same, has been the same, like for as long as I can remember. And my signature is in my regular handwriting. And I was told, don't do that. Like you have to have a separate author signature. You can't have it. I was like, I didn't know that was a thing at first. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and my author signature is totally different from my like actual signature.
Which I mean, for safety reasons, is a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't know where the blue block is, baby. Okay, so that was all my questions, and I don't see any from the audience, but let's give them a few minutes to like catch up and maybe see if they have any other questions. Anna also uses Google Docs. Yes. She also did not like Grammarly. Yeah, and we're still in Mercury retrograde. Mercury likes to mess with us, doesn't it?
Is Mercury ever out of retrograde? I don't think it is. I think it's always in retrograde.
At least the past like 4 years or so.
Right? But everyone keeps saying it's in retrograde. I'm like, I think it just lives there now. That's just where Mercury lives, in retrograde. Let's get used to it.
All right. So tell us a bit more about the dating dilemma. So yeah, let's hear about it.
So the dating dilemma is a fake dating trope. Only one bed book. It's a rom-com, steamy rom-com, with an awkward heroine and a very sweet, gentle cinnamon roll hero who is a firefighter. She works at a youth center, and it's her birthday, and a firefighter shows up, and she mistakes him for a stripogram, and it turns out he's there to do the inspection for the center. And she is completely embarrassed, and they fail. But of course, it's a youth center. They don't have a lot of money. She doesn't know how they're going to fix things. So he offers to fix the centers for her. And he needs a fake girlfriend because his sisters are pressuring him to date and like setting him up on blind dates, getting him on dating apps. And he's like, I need a fake girlfriend. She's like, oh, of course, totally. I'll be your fake girlfriend. There's no chance that we're ever going to fall in love. Yeah, they totally fall in love. Yeah, we've all read that. We know how this goes. And
I
there's
love the fake date trope.
it's so fun. It's so fun. And there's just so many funny things. She has to go like on vacation with his sisters, pretending to be his girlfriend. But she has this bet with her roommate that she's not allowed to date because she's one of those people that like gives all of herself to everybody. So she's trying to focus on her time. So she's trying to convince her roommate that she's not actually dating this guy while convincing his sisters that they're actually dating. And so there's like that whole, the old sitcoms where people have to like switch disguises because they're on two different dates in the restaurants. Kind of like that type thing when they go out with his friends and her friends are there. So like they have to be like, no, we're not dating to her friends, but yes, we are dating to his friends. And hilarity ensues.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. That's perfect. How did you come up with, am I allowed to ask, how did you come up with the inspiration behind the characters, the book itself? Is any of this going to give spoilers?
Oh no, it probably won't give spoilers. Well, this is the second one in my Mile High Firefighter series. So, we picked another firefighter from Station 42. Yes, that's Parker and Tamsin's, which is also awkward and disastery and funny. I like to call these my disaster meet cute books because every single meet cute is just a disaster. In Parker and Tamsin's, in the first book, she has a plaster cast stuck on herself and he's there to rescue her and she has nothing on underneath. And then they find out they're going to be step siblings because their parents are getting married. So disaster meet cutes are my thing. But with this one, I don't know. Dyson he was in the first book and he was just such a sweetheart. And I knew he needed another sweetheart to be with him. And Lexi is just my awkward baby. She talks out loud without realizing it. And which is something I do sometimes. And I definitely mix up my words with my dyslexia. So I'm like, I want to give her a weird quirk that people will be like, wow, that's very weird. But he finds it endearing and adorable. And yeah. So I just wanted some awkward babies to fall in love.
And you got them. Yay. All right. So, Kathy says she just bought the Audible. And Anna says, Mercury enters retrograde about every 3 months. I don't know what's wrong with me today. I am just glitching. So, all right, Mariah, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, for answering my grilling questions about dyslexia and your entire author career.
Happy to. Thank you so much for having me on.
This is amazing, and I can't wait until the next time we get to talk as well, because you're going to come back.
Yes.
So, okay, I'm going to reset real quick before we leave. Everyone, this has been Mariah Ankenman. She's the author of The Dating Dilemma. Book birthday is this week, so go. It is available on print, Audible, and in ebook form on Amazon. You'll find it below in the carousel. It is a real romance with a happy ending.
Yes, happy ending.
And Mariah, thank you so much. I will see you on TikTok.
Yes, see you on TikTok.
All right, let me go ahead and end that.